Leaders at a pivotal time. The reason this summit carries extra weight straight ahead.
Did you know that Buell Motorcycles is back in production and are being made right here in Cascade Township?
If you're trying to restart a manufacturing business, Grand Rapids and the state of Michigan is a great place.
A tour inside the factory, and I'll tell you why they're adding jobs. Coming up.
You're watching Fox 17, part of the Scripps News Group.
Israel and Iran have traded missile strikes for a third straight day. On Sunday, Israel hit targets in Tehran, including the defense ministry and sites it claims are tied to Iran's nuclear program. Meanwhile, Iranian missiles have broken through Israeli defenses, striking buildings deep inside the country. Israel's death toll is believed to be around 10, while Iran's health ministry is reporting that Israeli strikes have killed more than 400 people and injured hundreds more. G7 leaders are meeting in Canada this week, where they'll aim to seek de-escalation between the two countries. President Donald Trump reportedly rejected a plan by the Israelis to kill Iran's supreme leader. According to two U.S. officials, the Israelis had an opportunity to kill Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, but he opposed it. Trump has previously warned Tehran to expect the, quote, full strength and might of the U.S. armed forces if it retaliates against the U.S.
President Donald Trump returns to the G7 summit, the first of his second presidential term, as he's shaken up global trade and sought to end global conflicts.
So we're going to Canada.
President Donald Trump meeting G7 allies in the Canadian mountainside at a pivotal time for world leaders on the heels of showcasing America's military.
We're the hottest country in the world right now.
The meeting with Canada, France, the UK, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the EU comes as Trump pursues an America First agenda. The backdrop, Trump's effort to reset trade relationships, toughen immigration policy, bolster American energy, and resolve conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East. While Israeli and Iranian strikes now poised to be a major focus as some allies, including Trump, publicly underscore diplomacy. Trump writing on Truth Social earlier Sunday, "We will have peace soon between Israel and Iran." Many calls and meetings now taking place, but by the same evening, he struck a different tone.
Sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
Leading into the 50th anniversary meeting, host country Canada laid out priorities, including protecting communities, energy security and the digital transition, and partnerships for the future.
Canada will lead with the values the world respects, the resources the world wants, an economy that leads the G7.
While leaders appear focused on shared issues, there are also differences that have emerged between them on issues like Gaza, climate, and U.S. trade efforts.
We have our trade deals. All we have to do is send a letter. This is what you're going to have to pay. But I think we'll have a few new trade deals, yeah.
As the heads of state meet, their discussions coming in at a critical moment.
We have an unprecedented, comprehensive configuration of interconnected global crises. Never before have the stakes been so high.
A number of other nations have also been invited, including Mexico, South Africa, India, Brazil, Australia, South Korea, and Ukraine. Haley Bull, Scripps News Group, Banff, Alberta, Canada.
Good morning, West Michigan. It is currently 5:15. I'm Fox 17 Weather Ready meteorologist Terry DeBoer taking a look out over downtown Holland. A tranquil start to our work week. In fact, we're counting down to the beginning of summer, which officially arrives Friday. So the last few days of spring are officially with us this week, and it's going to feel very much like we have jumped right into the middle of summer as we've got some steamy air on the horizon. Checking out the live view this morning, looking off to the north out over downtown Grand Rapids, US 131 north and southbound, just coming out of the Ford Freeway interchange, along with, of course, the Grand River. As you can see, temperatures are holding steady in the upper 50s to low 60s. We're a few degrees warmer than we were at this point yesterday in most places, and tomorrow morning we're going to wake up with readings in the mid to upper 60s across the region. Today, those temperatures really surged this afternoon, in fact, making it into the mid 80s in most inland areas. And with that easterly wind direction, even along the lakeshore, we're going to keep those temperatures pretty close to what we will see in the inland areas. So far this month, we've had a handful of days with high temps above average, handful of days with temps below average, and back-to-back days with average temperatures over the weekend, 79 Saturday and 80 degrees yesterday. So what are we tracking for you today? Well, a mostly sunny and warmer Monday. The humidity levels actually remain in check. Dew points stay in the 50s today, which is warm air but comfortable. Surging into the 60s tomorrow with those dew points. So that's the humidity that is going to start to build for a toasty Tuesday. Storms arrive later Tuesday night into Wednesday, and then active weather builds in for the middle of the week with a chance of severe weather on Wednesday. Here's a look at the setup in the atmosphere this morning. You'll notice we still have high pressure in control of our weather, so that easterly wind, even though there are some showers and storms back to our west from southwestern Wisconsin into Minnesota, those as they move eastward will be tracking off to our north. So again, not impossible as we make this transition in air masses to see an isolated shower tomorrow morning. The better chance, though, of those showers and storms will hold back until later Tuesday night into the early part of the day on Wednesday. So here's a look at the setup. 6 o'clock Tuesday, still looking at that active weather blossoming out over Lake Michigan. This is as of late Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning. That's when we're going to start to see those more robust thunderstorms come through. Wednesday, not a complete washout. We'll see waves of showers and storms with this kind of setup in the atmosphere, but this brings the Storm Prediction Center to issuing an outlook area for the potential for severe weather on Wednesday. The greens across northern lower Michigan, that's where we see a level 1 out of 5, level 2 out of 5, that's the yellows, and that's where we are going to find most of central and southern lower Michigan. So we'll watch it carefully. We do believe large hail and damaging winds, along with some locally heavy rain, will be the biggest threats here. Today on Lake Michigan, those water temps have started to warm, upper 50s to low 60s, and you can see that we will be keeping winds and waves really in check today. Waves running calm to just a foot or so. Mid 80s today, 60s for lows tonight, upper 80s to near 90 with the humidity building. It's going to feel like we're in the 90s tomorrow. Showers and storms, a few could arrive early Wednesday morning, and then another round developing later in the day. We'll dry out on Thursday and turn a little cooler. Low 80s for Friday. We're going to make a run at 90 over the weekend.
In the 1980s, Buell motorcycles became an iconic brand. Now that brand is back and making motorcycles right here in Cascade Township. Business is booming. They're getting ready to add 2 new models and more jobs.
This is the new Buell Super Cruiser.
Buell CEO Bill Melvin is a motorcycle man.
Got a V-twin engine that we build here.
That's why he jumped at the chance to purchase the company.
We were able to get the brand back and relaunch Buell in Grand Rapids, Michigan in 2021.
He says if you're trying to restart a manufacturing business,
Grand Rapids and the state of Michigan is a great place because everyone's supportive of what we're doing. There's great engineers, there's great suppliers.
Now the company is adding the Super Touring and the Super Cruiser motorcycles to their lineup.
What's it like watching this bike from concept? Now it's here in your factory and you're building them.
This one's exciting. This is one of the test certification bikes that's going out next week.
To build the new bikes, Buell will add 50 jobs in the next 6 months and 50 more in the next 3 years. The jobs will pay over $26 an hour.
As we've been ramping up for the Super Cruiser, we've added an amazing team and brought in a lot of great talent here to the factory in Grand Rapids. People are coming from all over the country to join us and be part of the team.
To help with their $18.5 million expansion, in May, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation awarded Buell a $972,000 grant.
They're very interested in maximizing American production, and part of that is ensuring that their supply chain is as close to them as possible. So certainly there will be added benefit to this project, to the supply chain network, not only in West Michigan, but Michigan as a whole.
We're building product here, but we're also helping one of our suppliers that's down the street have more people and more jobs. Our gas tanks and our fenders come from Lowell.
Reservoirs up here. Bill Melvin is just proud that the famous motorcycles are being made again.
Excitement behind our brand is strong. We are bringing in the younger consumer that wants something fun, energetic, performance-based. And a lot of those younger consumers do want to support American jobs.
Buell says the 2 new models will start full production this fall. To apply or get more information on the company, I have a link in the web version of this story on fox17online.com. In Cascade Township, Darren Bauer, Fox 17 News.
A Muskegon kid is getting to play for his hometown team, the Lumberjacks. We'll show you his first moments on the ice with the team coming up.
LPGA Classic wrapped up Sunday evening at Blythefield Country Club in Belmont, and Carlota Ciganda birdied the final 2 holes to win it all. The 35-year-old Spanish player is celebrating her first LPGA Tour victory in more than 8.5 years. There was actually a 6-way tie going into Sunday. Ciganda and her player partner Hyejin Choi, who finished second, both turned in solid performances. Ciganda shot a 5-under 67 on the day, which was her 4th straight round in the 60s, to finish at 16 under for the round. Congrats to her.
A Muskegon native is getting the chance to play for the Lumberjacks. Ty Rapp was drafted by the team back in May. On Monday, he took the ice for the first time with his hometown team.
Something I've always wanted. I've had the Lumberjacks as my role models my whole life, so it's kind of like it's like every kid's dream that they get play for the hometown team.
At just 15 years old, Ty remembers the moment he got the phone call from the Lumberjacks.
Coach Regoni called me. I was super happy. Me and my dad were, kind of freaked out about it, but it was good.
Ty was at a hockey tournament. He and his dad were sitting in the hotel when the phone rang.
There's certain moments as a father that's instilled right when they're born, and that's going to be one that's just right there that'll never go away.
Ty's love for hockey began at a young age. He was at a Red Wings game and wanted to be on the ice himself.
We come back, we got him some skates, we put him in, learn to skate, and it went from there to mini mice. It exploded. He never wanted to be off skates.
Monday was his first day on the ice, wearing a Lumberjacks jersey for the first time, getting instruction from the team.
Yeah, it's super cool, obviously, but I've obviously worked for it, so it's like a work paid off. But I keep working, and it's like it'll keep going and paying off.
The best piece about him is that he hasn't even touched the ceiling yet. There's a lot of room for growth and improvement, and just something we're excited for. It means something extra to us, just having a kid in our backyard that we can help develop and hopefully one day play for us.
And wherever his career goes, he'll always have the memories of playing for his hometown team. Reporting in Muskegon, Thomas Cook, Fox 17 News.
Building a family. How a doctor in West Michigan is helping couples here and across the country realize that dream, despite having a rare disease or genetic condition that runs in their family.
It's a great time of year to be outdoors, and there are plenty of spots across Michigan where you can plan your overnight adventure. We're hearing from an expert on camping season and why it's not too late to book your trip.
You're watching Fox 17 Morning News.
Good morning, West Michigan. I'm Fox 17 Weather Ready meteorologist Terry DeBoer, and hopefully you are ready for some steamy weather that'll be building in. We're counting down to the beginning of summer, officially arriving at the end of this week. But it's going to feel like we've jumped right into the heart of summer as we move through the majority of this week. Today, looking at highs back in the mid-80s. A beautiful sunrise will unfold this morning. Just a few clouds here and there drifting through, so we'll go for mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies across the area today. Dry pavement this morning. Temperatures are holding steady in the upper 50s to low 60s, mid-60s in some of our lakeshore communities. So again, we are waking up to a mild morning. Not much going on across the immediate area. In fact, fact, here in Michigan, we will stay dry from start to finish today, even though we do have some active weather building off to our west from southwestern Wisconsin into eastern Iowa, southeastern Minnesota. We do have some active weather already developing. A couple of systems on the map. High pressure is going to be in control of our weather, so that will keep us dry today with that easterly wind, keeping our humidity levels very comfortable. And those temperatures will warm very nicely today. In fact, we'll be up to around 80 by noon, mid-80s eventually for highs today. And that 3-day outlook shows highs in the upper 80s with more humidity. It's going to feel like we're in the 90s tomorrow. Showers and storms, potential for severe weather on Wednesday, slightly cooler Thursday. We've got the heat building for the weekend. We'll give you a preview of that 7-day forecast coming up.
Good morning, I'm Whitney Burney, and here's a look at what's happening today. President Donald Trump in Canada today, where he is attending the G7 summit. It's his first time back to the summit since his re-election. Tensions in the Middle East are sure to take center stage at the talks as attacks between Iran and Israel ramp up. International trade is also likely to be a key topic. The president's 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs on all trading partners will end in 3 weeks unless nations can strike a deal with the U.S. The Russia-Ukraine war is also expected to dominate that conversation. A federal judge in Boston is expected to hold a hearing today to consider a temporary ban on the Trump administration's efforts to keep foreign students from attending Harvard University. Earlier this month, the president signed an executive order declaring that it would jeopardize national security to allow Harvard to continue hosting foreign students. It's just the White House's latest attempt to bar foreign students from attending the school. A federal judge had blocked previous attempts. And a rocket carrying satellites that will eventually run Amazon's internet network is set to launch into orbit today from Cape Canaveral, Florida. In April, the company successfully sent 27 satellites into low Earth orbit. This mission will send another 27 satellites into space. Amazon says it will launch a total of 3,200 satellites over the course of 80 missions in an effort to bring fast, reliable internet to communities around the world.
Video showing an arrest and altercation with police has caught the attention of GRPD, in particular Chief Winstrom. This video, shared on Facebook, has been viewed over 100,000 times. It shows what took place on Kalamazoo Avenue on the south side of Grand Rapids. It shows an arrest and then altercation between people and officers.
And I believe what happened is they thought they were taking the moral high ground and inserting themselves in a situation that they really didn't understand what was going on, and unfortunately took it a little too far. So the context is what's important.
Chief Winstrom says he's received a lot of questions about the video, and he's been telling people that it was taken from a distance and shows one angle. He characterized it as people making a decision to insert themselves into a situation they didn't know about, that they were given lawful commands to step back and put hands on the officer first.
One of the things I'll share candidly, a frustration that I have, is I got so much communication about this video going around the morning that we lost a 15-year-old girl to gun violence. And it's these officers that are out there doing exactly what they need to do to bring safety for the city. And I hold my officers to a very high standards, the highest in the area by far.
The chief confirmed he has watched the video and stands by the actions his officers took. Meanwhile, in response, a Facebook post by Kent County Commissioner Robert Womack says he will host a community meeting at City Hall Tuesday night at 7 o'clock.
Building a family, having a rare disease or a genetic condition can sometimes make that feel impossible. But a doctor here in West Michigan is helping couples make that dream a reality with Genome Ally.
4 little dinosaurs learn their ABC.
Chris Newton and Jessica Matthews are parents to 2 busy, dinosaur-loving boys, 6-year-old Liam and 4-year-old Carter. After all these years, they say it's still surreal to hear the sounds of little feet running around their home.
It's definitely something I never thought would happen, if I'm being honest.
Chris was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, a genetic condition, as a baby. He grew up knowing building a family wouldn't be easy.
A doctor had told me that I probably was not fertile, so I knew in high school that would be the case.
So it was just kind of our norm, and knew that there were going to be some medical challenges and barriers.
They found the help they needed at the fertility center in Dr. Millie Takour, the founder of Genome Ally.
We are all for proactive
decision making and using the science to be able to have healthy children.
The telehealth reproductive genetics consultation practice aims to live up to its name by becoming an ally for couples as they navigate their choices in starting a family.
Whether they are carriers of a certain kind of genetic disease, or if they have a personal or family history of that disease, or if they have an affected child with a genetic disease, we take expert information and then we break it down.
Couples are counseled and referred to local labs and providers. A simple blood or even saliva test is the first step of genetic testing, known as preconception carrier screening. The results help determine whether to try naturally or seek out a more advanced option like in vitro fertilization or IVF.
To be able to take embryos and be able to test them to see if they inherited the genetic change or not, then having the option of transferring an unaffected embryo.
Dr. Takor says regardless of the results, knowledge is power. Being armed with answers prevents couples from being blindsided by a diagnosis down the line.
It usually takes 4 to 8 years for a child with a genetic disease to be diagnosed, and then 30% of children would die during that diagnostic odyssey.
Did Carter play?
Chris and Jessica knew they wanted kids, but did not want to pass on the condition. Jessica underwent IVF after learning she is not a carrier of cystic fibrosis. Both boys, although born unaffected, are carriers.
If they decide to have kids later, they will also need to do genetic testing before choosing to have kids.
Chris has now undergone 2 double lung transplants for his CF, beating the odds to not only survive, but start a family.
They're fun, happy little guys.
Yeah, and they're both healthy, so that's important too. So
All of the science behind it is just mind-boggling. So we're very thankful there are a lot of people that are a lot smarter than us out there. So
that's for sure.
Dr. Takor says more and more insurance companies are beginning to pick up the cost of that preconception carrier screening. Otherwise, it'll cost you roughly $300 if you do self-pay. No referrals are needed to get help with Genome Ally. We've linked information about how to reach out and get started in this story at fox17online.com. I'm Janice Allen, Fox 17 News.
For the first time, Asian longhorn ticks have been found in Michigan. According to the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, or MDARD, Calvin University students were doing routine surveillance for ticks and found 2 nymphs at Grand Mere State Park in Berrien County. As their name implies, Asian longhorn ticks are native to East Asia. Since first being found in the U.S. in 2017, they've been detected in nearly 24 states. MDARD says the ticks aren't known to spread Lyme disease, but could spread other viruses to any mammal or bird, with the biggest concern being cattle. If you think you found an Asian longhorn tick, send it to the state health department for identification. It's mid-June, which means camping season is underway, so it's time to pitch a tent or two. I connected with a state park supervisor out of Norton Shores who's sharing all the tips and tricks on how to become, dare I say, a happy camper.
I would say June's usually kickoff time.
So it's officially that time to treat yourself and pitch a tent or park a trailer.
You can go from, a $40 tent all the way up to a $40,000 rig.
Justin Givens, Hoffmaster State Park Supervisor, says July and August are the most common months to camp.
Weekdays, we do have availability, but weekends usually tend to fill up.
So campgrounds around the state are raising the stakes.
We will have an increase in prices on August 1st throughout the state, and they're going to be going up $5 to $10. It depends on where the site is and what state park it is.
For this park, there's 295 sites, which vary in price depending on the size and days you're camping.
We have 10 ADA accessible sites, and we have some 50 amp service and some 30 amp services as well.
Weekdays are cheaper than weekends, but every day's been busy since COVID hit, and Gibbons says they're still riding the wave of that spike.
There's definitely a heavier use on our campground. We're getting a lot more camping nights in our park at least, and I think overall, there's been a lot more campers.
The more the merrier, right? You can book with Hofmaster up to 6 months in advance to secure your site. But if you're a last-minute camper like me, you can head to midnrreservations.com.
You put in all your information, you put Hofmaster State Park, you put the site that you want, and it's not available for the dates that you want it, you can hit that notify me.
If there's a camping cancellation, you'll be notified so you can snatch a site ASAP. But whether you book 6 months out or stumble on a site a few days before, Given says you just have to remember 3 things: to bring the firewood and food, and to have fun.
More information on pricing and scheduling for your next camping trip can be found on our website at fox17online.com.
I'm John Matteries. Home flipping is hot these days, and a freshly rehabbed home usually looks great. Unfortunately, before you buy one family has a warning about some things that can go terribly wrong. Buying a flipped home with great curb appeal and new fixtures can be a home buyer's dream. Unfortunately, in some cases, what lies beneath the surface and behind the walls can turn into a home buyer's worst nightmare. Helen Mullen is trying to make the best of a bad situation. Inside the dream house she just bought from a home flipping company.
It had a new kitchen, it had new bathrooms.
But the dream quickly faded. In the kitchen, when she turned on the fan,
we lost power on this entire side of the house.
Then a few days later, washing dishes.
Within about 10 seconds, the drain starts backing up.
All the drains stopped working. When she called a plumber,
they told us that we had a real big problem.
Her sewer line was clogged with tree roots. Total repair bill, almost $20,000. Nick Romico, founder of the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors, says a home inspection is one place where it's worth spending extra, even when buyers are focused on cutting costs.
I think we're going to get to a home inspection where you're spending only hundreds of dollars to look at something that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's time to stop thinking like that.
If you're worried about a conflict of interest between the inspector and realtor, find an inspector outside your area. For a slightly higher cost, hire a certified master inspector. They have 3 years of extra training. Pay for extra services to avoid potential problems like radon testing or having the sewer line checked. Romico says home buyers should know that flippers prioritize profit, often which could mean cutting corners or hiding problems.
Somebody knew there was a problem and didn't tell the next person, so we got stuck with it.
So get a thorough inspection so you don't waste your money. John Matteries, Scripps News Group.
Good morning, West Michigan. I'm Fox 17 Weather Ready meteorologist Terry DeBoer coming to you live on this Monday morning, the last Monday officially of spring. We officially changed seasons on Friday, and it's going to really feel like we are changing seasons early this week as the heat and then tomorrow the humidity start to surge. Quiet though this morning. We'll see a mixture of clouds and sunshine for that Monday morning commute as we look off to the north, out over the Grand River, US 131 north and southbound, heading into and out of the city. Temps this morning, we're a handful of degrees warmer than we were at this point yesterday. In fact, most areas in the upper 50s to low 60s along the Lakeshore, Holland at 66 degrees, 60 in South Haven, Benton Harbor, St. Joe. And as we take a look at the 24-hour temperature trend here, you can see we are going to really be warming up nicely. Temps above average in the mid 80s this afternoon. So far this month, we've had a handful of days with the high temps above average, a few days with temps below average, and back-to-back days this weekend with temperatures exactly where they should be this time of the year. So we haven't seen a whole lot of rain. We've only had 3 days with measurable precipitation this entire month, and the wettest day was all the way back on June 4th when we picked up a little less than 1/4 inch of rain. So much of our area becoming dry, drought situation taking shape over toward the Saginaw and Flint areas. So we are tracking some active weather this week. The rain will be beneficial, likely arriving later Tuesday night into the day Wednesday, and Wednesday we'll have our best chance of seeing severe weather this week as we look at a level 2 risk out of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center. The short term, though, Dry today from start to finish. So high pressure in control of our weather, still parked off to our north, funneling in that clockwise circulation. So still an easterly wind today. We've got a system to our south that really won't be impacting our weather today, and then one off to our west. And you can certainly see already some precipitation beginning to develop from southwestern Wisconsin back into southern Minnesota. And that initial push of precipitation will start crossing Lake Michigan later on this evening and tonight, and will track through areas across central and northern lower Michigan. So that is going to be lifting northward. As we look at the future track for tomorrow, slight chance of a stray shower during the day. Most of our Tuesday should be dry, but as we head into Tuesday evening and Tuesday night, we're going to start to see some stronger storms with some locally heavy rainfall developing as we head into early Wednesday morning. This is just after midnight Wednesday, and as you can see, then that area of active weather will continue to move eastward. So we'll see a few rounds of showers and storms on Wednesday. Not a complete washout on Wednesday, but those that do develop will have the potential to produce some pockets of severe weather. Much of central and southern lower Michigan under that level 2 risk out of 5 for severe weather, which could bring us some damaging winds and also the potential for some pockets of large hail. In the meantime, Lake Michigan today, waves calm to just a foot or so. The water temps in Lake Michigan are starting to climb. They're really going to be climbing in the days ahead. Again, a high near 90. We're going to feel like we're into the 90s with that higher humidity surging in for tomorrow. Again, chance of showers and storms Wednesday into early Thursday. Thursday, we're a little cooler. Friday, pleasant. Highs near 90 for the first time this season over the upcoming weekend. And the 8 to 14 day outlook, which takes us well into that 4th week of June, keeps the cooler air out west. And we're going to really heat up across the central